Take a good look at me, for I set into motion the extraordinary events that led to the death of Jesus Christ. As the ruler over the Jews in Palestine, I presided over the very brief and unfair trial of Jesus of Nazareth. The charges? They claimed that he said he was the king of the Jews, that he claimed to be the Son of God. Now, I was frightened at the thought of the death of a possible God, but I was more terrified that these Jewish leaders would report to the emperor that I was a traitor if I didn't go along with the popular beliefs of this very difficult people. So, I questioned Jesus. I asked him, "Are you the Messiah?" But he was silent. So I asked him again, only louder this time, "Are you the Messiah?" And he gently answered me, "I am. And you shall see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of heaven." So, in my selfish human fear, with those few words for his defense, I turned over the Son of God to be crucified on a cross.
We see all of this played out among the religious leaders of Jesus' time as they condemn Christ with no basis.
Jesus, without your help, we are like Pilate. We are afraid and sometimes do things too late to regret. Remind us that when we hurt others, we are hurting you too. Give us the strength we need to say no when someone wants us to do something we should not do. Let the words of Scripture, "Judge not that you may not be judged," ring in my ears.
I am Barabbas, leader of cutthroats, murderers, and thieves. No, a rebel. I hated the Romans and fought them every chance I got. But they caught me and threw me in that pit of a prison in Jerusalem. It was there I saw the man Jesus, a carpenter from Nazareth. He was no criminal. His own people wanted him put to death. "Crucify him," they shouted. "Give us Barabbas. Crucify Jesus. Free Barabbas." So Pilate agreed, and I escaped at that time. Before I left Jerusalem, I watched him pick up his cross and walk to that hill they call the Skull. He died there. Strange things happened that day. The sky went dark as night at midday. Buildings crumbled. Spirits left their tombs. Some say he was the Son of God. I believe he must be.
Criticizes us in many ways.
Forgive our enemies and our things to you, and show kindness instead of anger, perfect patience and resignation. They accept carrying my own daily crosses.
I am King Herod, and from my palace window I watched as your Jesus stumbled and fell from the weight of his heavy cross. While he was preaching, He told anyone who wanted to be his follower to pick up their cross and follow him. Is this what he meant? Why would anyone want to deliberately suffer? And you know, he wasn't the least bit afraid of me, even though I had his cousin John the Baptist killed. I gave him chances to work his miracles in front of me so that I could see that he was telling the truth about his powers. He should have been afraid of me. Instead, he just stood there, looking at me, waiting. And I thought, what is it he doesn't understand?
He was willing to hurt and humiliation he would endure for our sake.
Jesus, where have called you a fool? I want everything to be easy. I run too quickly from my need to do for myself. Herod had others do his evil work. Give me strength that I may never use others to bring my life to their
mother of Jesus. I gave birth to him on a cold night in Bethlehem. His Father in heaven is much greater than any of us could ever be. So it is to him I must turn to with this. When I saw Jesus fall, I went to him and caressed his tender face and gazed into his agonized eyes. How I wanted to take him away from this place, to take him home, where I could hold his head on my lap as I had done when he was a young boy, to console him as only a mother can. I knew this day would come, and yet it took all that I had to keep my heart from breaking in two as I watched my precious son struggle with the last of his strength under that cross, that whip, under that hideous crown. He is my son. I must walk beside him. When he was a young boy, Joseph and I lost him on a journey. And when we found him, he said, "Do you not know I must be about my Father's business? Is this cross his Father's business?" I did not imagine it.
My name is Simon. I am from the town of Cyrene. And on that Friday morning, I had come up to Jerusalem from the fields where I worked. I saw a large crowd of people had gathered, so I went over to see what was happening. All of a sudden, a Roman soldier grabbed me and forced me to carry the cross of this poor man condemned to death. This really angered me. I had done nothing wrong. But then I looked into the face of this man, and he smiled as if to thank me. Suddenly, his cross wasn't so heavy, and I was glad to carry it for this poor man. Since that time, I have found it a lot easier helping others carry their crosses when they are in trouble.
I am Veronica. My house is on the same street which leads to the place where the Romans crucified prisoners. I was standing in my doorway watching Jesus go by, and I remembered his saying, "As often as you did it for the least of my brothers, you did it for me." I wanted to help, so I pulled the veil from my head and I bent down towards Jesus. I wiped the blood and the sweat from his face. A soldier almost hit me, but I didn't care. Jesus was looking at me with so much love in his eyes. It gave me courage. It was all the thanks I needed.
Let us pray.
I am Caiaphas, the chief priest of the temple at Jerusalem. People have been coming to me complaining about this man, Jesus. They are saying he says he is God. They are saying he says he can actually forgive sins. Exactly who does this man think he is? He is nothing more than a carpenter from Nazareth. So yes, I had him arrested. I could not let the Romans see that we could not control our population. I could not let the Romans see that people were actually listening to this man. I watched him carry his cross, and I could not help but laugh to myself. This man who proclaimed to be king wouldn't be king much longer, would he?
I am a believer. My friends and I heard Jesus speak a few times. Sometimes we bake bread and we would take it to him and his apostles. When we saw him wearing that crown of thorns, bleeding and suffering, we were moved to tears. But he stopped on his final journey for a few seconds and he said, "Do not cry for me, but cry for yourselves and for your children." What was this man saying? There was so much we did not understand. But one thing I did know, I truly believed that this was God's chosen one. Truly, he was the Son of God.
Let us pray. Compassion means to suffer with someone. These women displayed both the qualities of compassion and empathy as they accompanied Jesus on his sorrowful journey through the streets of Jerusalem.
Jesus, help us to imitate the examples set by these women as we listen with love.
I am Longinus, the Roman soldier who made the crown of thorns that I pressed into his scalp. That crown was made with long, sharp thorns, and I pressed it deep into his scalp. I am also the one who made him get up every single time he fell beneath his cross. But I am also the one who watched him forgive those who wounded his body and saddened his heart. When I saw him finally up on that cross, I said to him, Jesus, forgive me for all the unkind things I did to you. Because of how forgiving he was, I truly believe that he is the Son of God. And I hope you too would believe that.
Let us pray.
I am Dismas. I was a robber and a thief. But they caught me and sentenced me to die next to the Nazarene carpenter. I watched from my cross as they nailed the man they called Jesus to his cross. And I listened when he cried out, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Well, I knew right then and there that this was no ordinary man, and that he could help me too. So I turned to him and I said, Jesus, please remember me when you come into your kingdom. And you know what he said to me? He said, this day you will be with me in paradise.
I was with him when he was crucified. Even as we were hanging there, about to die, I asked him, aren't you the Messiah? Why don't you save yourself and us too? I was too ashamed to ask for forgiveness. And I died. I died an angry man.
I am Mary Magdalene, and before I met Jesus, I had done some terrible things. But one day, after hearing him speak about love and forgiveness, I went to see him. I started to cry, and I cried so much that I washed his feet with my tears. He forgave me right then and there. I have never forgotten his love. I stood next to his cross to the very end. I remember it all. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani. My God, why have you forsaken me? Some of the people standing around thought he was calling for Elijah. I remember Jesus asked for something to drink. So they soaked a sponge in wine, put it on a reed, and tried to force him to drink it. Then they chided him by saying, wait, let us see if Elijah will come and take him down. I was there when Jesus gave a loud cry and said, it is finished. I was there when my Lord died.
Let us pray.
I am Salome, the mother of the apostles James and John. My son James ran away when the soldiers came for Jesus, but John and I stayed. We stayed by the cross with Mary, the mother of Jesus. At first, I could not understand why it is that Jesus had to suffer. It wasn't until later that I understood. But on that Friday evening, I just had to be there when they took his body from the cross. I had to be there to support Mary as they laid in her arms the body of her beloved son. Most of Jesus' friends ran away, but he forgave them.
Let us pray. We sometimes turn away from Jesus too. It is sometimes hard to be faithful, to always help the beggar on the street. Do you hear a plea cry? Do you stop and just walk by? Do you help the blind and weak?
I do not know if I have been brave enough to stay at your side until the very end, but I do want to be with you every day of my life. I welcome you into my heart and ask you.
I am Nicodemus. I helped my friend Joseph lay the body of Jesus in a new tomb in a nearby garden. Joseph, he was the brave one who went to the Roman guards and asked for the body of Jesus. Me, I have always been afraid of something. Even to be a follower of Jesus, I did so in secret. After the crucifixion, I wasn't afraid, but then I began to feel ashamed of myself for not stepping forward earlier to defend Jesus. Yes, I helped lay Jesus' body in the tomb. I did not know it would be there for such a short time. I did not understand.